of your screen with a 2-goal win, we suspect, with this easterly win. Very unusual here at Subi. Derby number 33 underway. Naitanui comfortable over the top.
Held too long, Matt DeBoer, your ball.
Matt DeBoer's free kick on the wing, the first real possession out of this game.
Strange that Cox started on the bench too. That's very unusual. There must be some sort of tactic here with that.
I don't know what the reasoning is for that. We'll closely monitor that as DeBoer takes the man on the mark on. Just the one hand up. Couldn't get it done there for Ibbotson. Now an opportunity at the back for Selwood. That's Scott. Marston involved. So is Shuey. Down the ground they go now. An opportunity here for the West Coast to drill it inside 50. And they do. Kennedy just slightly out of position. McFarlane and Kennedy matchup will be a very good one today.
It certainly will be, as will Adam Selwood on Pavlich. Certainly while he's in the midfield, I think when Pavlich pushes forward, he may get a different opponent.
Okay, Sandilands doing the ruck work. Opportunity going to ground was Mundy, and he'll get the free kick. Didn't have the ball.
Looks like Scott Selwood's going with Mundy.
And that is Mundy right there. Half back here, so an unbelievable last 20 minutes of this game with withdrawals left, right and centre from down in the rooms. Here's Naitanui over the ball. Jack Anthony, one of the inclusions for the Fremantle Dockers this weekend. Be intrigued to see how he goes.
So both Selwood brothers are tagging. Wouldn't happen too often. Others, and probably Brad and Chris Scott were the last twins to do that, or last brothers.
Both out of the Bendigo Pioneers. Of course, 4 Selwoods out of the Bendigo Pioneers. A big tick for Mark Allison and the boys there. There's Nikoski, Ebert. Tried the no-looker over the top. Pritis is going to get this down. Hearn with the Shepherd was good. Nikoski now on his non-preferred side around the corner. Good-looking ball over the head of LaCroix. It comes to Kennedy.
Good tackle.
It was indeed. Thrown to the ground, and now Michael Johnson's got to do it here, and over the line it goes.
Saw that snapshot in from Nikoski. Just shows you how strong that wind is. That ball carried for an extra 5 or 10 metres, went over the top of their head. So the forwards are going to have to be aware of that, and as will the defenders.
Sandilands, really good body position. High tackle. David Mundy with the free kick. Umpire Hayden Kennedy in the foreground there. The game's record holder when it comes to games umpired.
Second free kick he's got from Scott Selwood, infringing at the stoppages already.
McFarlane as Fremantle try to spread the defenders. And the West Coast press in action. It's one of the reasons they've come good this year. Hearn, and there you see the value of it. Trapped it in. They get another crack at it. The man that can kick it a mile. Lynch with the breeze as well. Over the back. Kennedy got both hands on it. Couldn't mark it in the end. Pavlich to tidy up. Spearing ball out there towards Fife. He'll gain possession. Took on a couple. McPhee went the man and not the ball. And now the Eagles once again. Kennedy on the charge. Hill's got to get back. Kennedy, great mark.
Very good grab. Very good grab, Brewer. I thought Hill was going to get a hand in there. Then his courage was actually very, very good at that point. But you called it, BT.
50 metres, boys.
50 metres.
Yep, 50-metre penalty, so a certain goal, Jono.
It is a certain goal now, but you called it. McPhee went the body, not the ball, earlier in the contest over on the wing. If he had to go on the ball and attack that, may have gone down the other end, at least created a stoppage. Him going the man, left another West Coast player free. Ball ends up here for a goal.
There's a goal to Kennedy, barely a spare seat in the house.
Well, the West Coast have started very well. The ball has been played pretty much for the whole quarter so far in their forward end. And one player we have mentioned at the start of this game so far has been Nikoski. He's been in pretty good form. He's one player who gets up and about, and he thrives on a bit of confidence now, especially as a forward, playing more as a defender in the past, going forward now and really enjoying being freed up a little bit in that area of the ground.
Dean Cox gone forward as well now for the Eagles.
Boys, Dean Cox has just come on for his first run, so they got Cox, Lynch and Jack Darling into the forward line. So it was a tactic that you mentioned, Rube, before the game, probably trying to stretch Fremantle's defence.
In the middle, Pritis trying to get the clearance, and that'll be classified as one. Straight to Naitanui. Naitanui goes long and deep. Here's Kennedy again. Around the corner, got an open goal square. Not quite.
Looks dangerous already, doesn't he, Kennedy? That grab he took before is one of the hardest grabs you can take in football when you're going at full stretch. And don't get off the ground and stick your arms out straight. It's a very, very hard one to stick.
And when you know you've got someone coming back into you as well.
Yeah.
Like Hill was attempting to do. Johnson goes wide with a high ball, and look at the press again. This is where they've improved their game. Get a comment from Mark Rasciuto and Brad Johnson in a moment. Beautiful kick to Ebert. Ebert almost deliberately knocked it down, regathers. What's he got? Can he straighten up in time? Wobbly old kick, won't quite get there. Off hands. Johnson's got his hand full. Tried to handball it through for a behind. Couldn't in the end. Selwood turns around. Was it a goal? Darling. Jack Darling nails the goal in the end for the Eagles.
So the big fella come onto the ground. He started on the bench, and that was more like a Crummers piece of play that he did there. Great pressure. And a very good start to the game by the West Coast Eagles. They are trying to... Who was it, Rosa, that got the ball?
Yeah, for the press. The press at the moment, Roo, is fantastic. And you probably go back to Scott Burns coming with that Collingwood influence over to West Coast. And it just seems like the way they're playing at the moment is exactly the way the Pies played the last couple of years.
Jack Darling with the first goal for him today, and the Eagles on fire. Remember, they are kicking with this easterly breeze, unusual here. Jacko, what do you think it's worth?
Oh, definitely 3 goals at this early stage, BT.
In the middle, Cox knocked down in the hands of Prittis once again. This time couldn't get hold of it. Crowley. Selwood cracking in there.
Fine. Both grabbed it just as much.
So some pretty good matchups up forward now. We've got Grover on Lynch. We've got Kennedy and McFarlane. And no, Grover's on Darling, sorry. And Lynch and Johnson.
Yep. Here's Bradley stepping through some traffic. Handball out wide. Pavlich involved to Mundy. Mundy around the corner, goes inside 50. Ignores McPhee. Went a little bit deeper. Overrunning the ball there was Smith. An opportunity at ground level now. They're first of the day here, the Dockers, as they try and get hold of this ball out of the pack. McPhee pulls his head out and says, "What about me?" Nothing on offer, says umpire Steve McBurney.
We talk about the younger players for the Dockers getting into the game. Mundy and Pavlich, 3 possessions, 2 possessions, 1 to De Boer, 1 to Fife. Pretty much that's all they've had so far. They need their younger players to start getting their hands on the ball.
They'll be a free to the West Coast Eagles there.
No, they'll just stop in play, Scott.
Another big stat early, 6-1 inside 50s in favour of the Eagles, 6-1.
Yep, and this one that they've got, it's been pretty scrappy. McGinnity, short ball to Butler. So just trying to regain their composure here at the moment, the Fremantle Dockers. The Eagles, ones that should have been on the back foot given the withdrawals. Do you know if any of the players that came into the side for the Eagles played yesterday in the waffle, or are they all clear of that?
Well, I think they kept 2 out, which is unusual, so they must have come in with a little bit of doubt.
The head of Darling. Lynch at the back did well. De Boer head over it, did really well. Got it to Grover. Standing start. Mundy picked up in the end there by Lower. Good ball. Out wide Pearce, I think it might have been. Got the handball on there to Fife. Off the inside of the boot. It was great, wasn't it, to Crowley? A really nice kick, as the boys mentioned. And Crowley will line up.
Yeah, very good kick there. Just nice touch into space. Allowed Crowley to run onto it. Didn't deviate with his eyes on the ball, did Crowley. But Grover is up a bit higher. I'd maybe like to see him and McFarlane switch over and Grover be the deepest, McFarlane up, because his run and drive through the middle of the ground can be quite good with his speed.
Second inside 50 for the Dockers, looking for a goal as Crowley comes in from 45, kicking to the teeth of that breeze. It travels, just got there, I reckon it has. It fell quickly. Fremantle get there first.
And Crowley can go forward and kick goals. He's a very hard nut around the midfield, quite aggressive and even a little bit annoying sometimes when he takes that tagging role. But he's very good over the head and a good finisher. So well done, Crowley. Hasn't been in the best of form. Probably was getting ready to stand Daniel Kerr today, but had to change his game and now can have a positive influence as well instead of just negating someone.
So Fremantle get one back. Crowley's ball just got there. You saw the way that ball dropped suddenly. And he's only kicking from 45.
Just quickly, BT, Andrew Gaff and Brad Shepherd did not play in the waffle yesterday, and Jack Anthony's just come on for his first run for the Fremantle Football Club.
Nice work, Jacko. Sandilands and Nat Nui go again. This time Sandilands wins it down comfortably. Clancy Pearce went charging through to De Boer. Good centre clearance. Crowley on the end of it again. Pressured here by Rosa. Did well. In the end, the ball had to come out. Rosa put his head over it. Torn off at De Boer. Fast hand Sandilands. Good play here by the Fremantle Dockers. Although not clear. Van Berlo went hard. Immediately dumped. Brutal tackle, wasn't it? Nikoski, they're away again here, the Eagles. Kennedy's got a one-on-one. McFarlane with a lunging tackle. Turned him sideways. Yep. I think in the end,
Good
Johnson
decision.
to Pearce, back to Johnson. Underground handball to Fife. Here they go once again. Grover outside. The counter-attack's on here for the Fremantle Dockers. Crowley looking for someone to give it to. Finds Kepler Bradley, I think it may be. 70 metres out. He wants to go long, and he does go long. Good-looking ball, Anthony, between a couple. Was he interfered with? De Boer around the corner. Right foot in the square, Main. Exhilarating play from the Dockers.
Great effort by Dean Cox to get back and cause the contested mark in the air, but fell to ground. And Chris Main, he's a dangerous forward, having a good year, kicked 10 goals, and looks like he'll get another one here.
Main directly in front, an absolute certainty. Kicks it up into the second tier, and the Dockers are back in business. Got their second.
Chris Main's work rate then was just outstanding. He worked from pretty much the middle of the ground, darted back towards the goal square, gets in around this contest here, ball goes back out, and there he is. He pops up in the goal square again. His work rate, 3 or 4 leads then, was very, very good and deserved to get on the end of it with a lucky kick there, but just his work rate put him in the right spot.
I'll tell you what, Jack Anthony got just a wake-up call with
Welcome.
Coxie's elbow straight in the gob.
Tell you what, Anthony did really well in that contest to bring it to the ground against the big boys. Provide an opportunity for the ground level players. Main gets his first of the day. It's a derby, all right. A lot riding on this. Sandilands with the follow, doing really well in the ruck. Crowley, De Boer, they're out again. McPhee wants to move it quickly. He does. Pretty ordinary kick along the ground. Main said he was being held by Schofield. Nothing on. Hearn, run down. Beautiful tackle by Main. Incorrect disposal. And that'll be a shot directly at goal. The advantage.
Play on.
Advantage was paid. Free kick was awarded. Out of trouble momentarily. Selwood. Nice grab from Adam Selwood.
So the free kick was awarded to West Coast in that.
The free kick was awarded to Main.
Yeah.
And then advantage was paid to Fremantle.
His tackles inside 50, Chris Main, are one of his real highlights. I think he's number 1 for Freo and really high in the competition for pressure inside forward 50.
Lynch, Michael Johnson almost incurring a 50-metre penalty as he came out of the gates there. Would have been the first time we'd ever seen that. Adam Selwood, game 140 for him. And now Fremantle just with some composure here across half-back. Hearn trying to chisel away forward, and he sees Darling on the lead. Exciting player, Jack Darling.
Izzy White, he led about 80 metres then to create a target.
Kick to Lacroix. Fantastic. Jack Darling picked 26. How did he go that way? Lacroix from 52 out with the aid of the breeze. Long ball in. Touched on the line. Keeping his feet. Nikoski around the corner.
And Nikoski, you said before, Jono, that he's been in great form this year. He's kicking goals as well. He runs around the forward line. He gets the crumbs. And we saw Lacroix there, took a very good catch. Coming back, only missed 3 weeks with a groin. He got taken off on a stretcher here earlier on in the year. That was a great kick to the top of the square. Nat Nui provides the contest, and Nikoski gets the crumbs and kicks a goal.
And it was the work of Jack Darling. If he didn't run 80 metres to create a contest, they wouldn't have scored then.
Nikoski getting his first. The West Coast Eagles off to a flyer with 3 here at the moment.
And just to add to that, BT, early patterns for West Coast, which is good, is they're getting the ball in their forward 50 with a lot of pace, and that's just catching the defenders on the back foot. So it's just the pace and momentum that the forward entries are going for West Coast in a minute.
See how this clearance goes. This time it's the 2 reserve ruckmen in Bradley and Lynch, if you like, in comparison to Cox and Sandilands. Lynch in the end getting on the end of it. Didn't want to go. Couldn't get his left. An opportunity now at the back here for Marston. Goes inside 50. Johnson went up with the one claw. Couldn't get it down. Handball almost to Kennedy. Got through there in the end. Wild handball out there from Crichton. Eagles having a real crack in their forward 50. Selwood was able to get it out of the hot zone there and over the line.
Too long in the tackle. Thrown to ground. That's the man free.
Well, it's interesting then with Leeds going up in the centre bounce.
There's something wrong with Cox. There has to be something wrong
because
with Cox he's on the bench
that's
again.
the time that West Coast get one opportunity to take some advantage when Kepler Bradley's up in the ruck.
Maybe there's something wrong with his jumping leg. That's all I can think of.
Yeah. Oh, well. Unbelievable if it is. Three of their best players, two out and one in doubt.
Maybe that's why he started on the bench.
Crichton, it was an unusual move. Ibbotson did well. Immediately into attack. Wasn't the greatest of kicks for McPhee. Well, it certainly is worth asking the question of Dean Cox. What do you think, Jacko, just looking at him from where you see him?
Well, he'd done a lead just before here, and it was a long lead, and he looked fine. He was full stretch, so maybe they're just managing his workload.
Selwood around the corner. Maybe they're saving him for the second half or something. The only other possibility. Here's an opportunity with Lower. Nice kick inboard, wasn't it? Beautiful kick, and Bradley takes the mark deep in the pocket.
It was, and Bradley sort of just hung around where the contest was there. Nat knew he started to move away, thinking West Coast were going to win possession. They turn it over, and a great kick back in where Bradley was just holding his ground as a smart forward, and he's going to take the advantage here.
I think he's going to kick the straight drop punt here, Kepler Bradley. No play on around the corner. Lines up, kick on the way, and very much to the near side.
Has to be something wrong with Dean Cox. It's very important to get off to a good start. You would not manage his game time earlier in the first half. You would have thought that you'd go hard as you can at Sandilands with Cox and Natanui and try and wear him down, but we'll have to see how that one plays out.
Begin from fullback for Hearn. Very minimal margin between that and the boundary line for Rosa. Cloudy day in Perth today. Some very light rain fell before the game. McCoskey ran over the top. Natanui looking to go underground with a handball there. McCoskey desperate. Pavlich in on the bottom, got a free too high.
West Coast really had to try and force that ball out of play then. I think that would have been the win for them. If they had got the ball out of bounds, would have been able to create another setup and take away the zone that Fremantle had set up.
Pavlich being told by his teammates to go backwards. He wanted nothing of it and thought he'd take the risk and go down the line, and Schofield the spoil to the boundary. So an intriguing start to this game. 3-1-19 West Coast, Fremantle 2-1-13.
Cox now looking like he's going into the ruck, so maybe they're doing a three-way rotation in the ruck.
Cox this time in front, wins it beautifully down to Shuey. Couldn't control the ball. In went Hill. He was tackled by both Pritis and Scott Selwood.
Pritis just needs to probably try and start finding a little bit of footy. He's only had a couple of disposals to this point, and he's a critical player. Needs to get his hands on to release the runners for West Coast.
39,700 through the gates already. That'll be the biggest crowd here this year. And I know, being a West Coast home game, that Fremantle supporters found it very hard to get tickets this week.
Pritis, listen to you. You just got a kick.
There you go.
Well done, Jono. You should take up coaching, maybe.
At the back, Bradley. Nice stretch over the top of Cox. Here's Mundy, who's been really prominent already. Pavlich needs the quick hands out of there, and he got one in the back again. Crowd not liking the Fremantle favourite son getting some free kicks here. Here's Van Berlo. A low rocket inside 50, didn't get it done. Quick hands, Butler, nice Hearn. They're out here, opportunity. Marston over the top if he wants. He's got Ebert running there now. Crowley coming in to close him down. Ebert turns to the boundary line, and his non-preferred left side, Lacroix, made ground late. Couldn't quite get there. Grover, Pritis in there. Broughton over the line out of bounds. Glenn Jakovich at boundary level.
BT, Chris Mayne spent a fair bit of time with the physio down here. They're working on his glutes and lower back. He's done some run through, so he's been off for a fairly long time. So I'll just keep an eye on that.
Doesn't look comfortable either, does he?
Very important player for them.
This is for Dean Cox. Dean Cox.
Free kick to Dean Cox. Crowd giving the Bronxies, saying their men haven't got enough here today, but it's umpire appreciation week. Crowd, please go easy. Cox, short ball, Kennedy. Now he's 60 from home. Remember, a big breeze coming over his shoulder. Just chips it to the square. Looking for Darling at the back, or was it Lynch? It was the latter. Lynch has taken the mark deep in the pocket.
I wonder if they're trying to exploit Kepler-Bradley with Dean Cox. I'm just trying to come up with a scenario why Dean Cox wouldn't have been first or second in the ruck, but he's done pretty well against Bradley in the ruck in the last couple of minutes.
And that's what we called for a bit earlier, because they had Lynch, who's having a shot now. He was the ruckman who was up the ground a bit earlier.
Plays on at the last second, kick around the corner and kicks the goal. Lynch has got it. West Coast with their fourth.
Well, West Coast, fantastic start. Fremantle certainly did work their way back into this quarter, the last 5 minutes, but then it's been all West Coast again. Their run and drive has been very, very good. They're certainly utilising the win. They're actually controlling their kicks going forward with the win. They're not trying to bomb too much, and just set that up perfectly, and it was a great take by Lynch, who went back, took the glove off, and finished with a nice snap goal.
Mark Rasciuto, they are looking up and about the West Coast Eagles, aren't they?
Yeah, they look very good. They've got a good game pattern. They're moving the ball out of half back, and they're moving it forward to their forwards very quickly and giving him one-on-one time.
Out of the middle, quickly down to Glenn Jakovic.
Oh, boys, just quickly, West Coast are trying to isolate Johnson deep in the goal square. You saw in that last contest, he hasn't got his confidence back, and he's just out of form at the minute, Johnson.
There he is. Johnson and Lynch going at it. Applies the tackle, looked a little scratchy. Now the ball comes forward. A little pressure on here, the Fremantle Dockers defenders. Kennedy was dragged down. Did he have it? Boundary umpire said it went out of bounds. So we'll throw it back in.
And that's where it is at the moment. The contested possession, 32 to the West Coast Eagles, 21 to Fremantle. And that's where West Coast is certainly taking the dominance at the moment. They're winning the ball in the stoppages. They're winning the hard ball right around the ground.
Pavlich, appeal, nothing on. This time to Clancy Pearce, smothering tackle. Quite ferocious in there at the moment. Sandilands on his non-preferred side. Haven't seen him do that before. Shepherd, a late inclusion today. Played last week, was omitted out of the side. Back in because of the Embley-Kerr dramatic withdrawals in the warm-up today. Kick forward, McFarlane putting it down Hess Hill. Haven't seen a lot of him early. Can they get out of this press? Clancy Pearce, it's up to you. Trying to close him down there is Smith, or Butler it was.
Only that was Hill's first possession there, so he's had a very quiet start there, BT. 22 minutes into the first quarter, getting his first touch. He wouldn't be happy with that.
Sandilands, the smash to the front left boundary, Crowley. What dark, gloomy conditions over here at the moment for one of the rare times. Don't say enough about this crowd, just pushing to 40,000 now. They still file in through the gates. Nat Nui not getting the run up there. Closed down by the West Coast. Here's Sandilands. Another left foot kick, 2 in a row. Would never have happened in his career, I wouldn't have thought. De Boer, Mundy, got Pavlich on the outside if he wants him, ignores that. Goes through a bit of traffic, and once again they squander an opportunity. There's Smith. Handball at the feet there of McGinnity. Turns around, tries to spear it down the throat there of Shuey. Not successful. Lynch brushes the tackle. Slipped at the crucial moment. Now Prittis has got it all to do. Crowley's in there as well. Lending assistance was Ebert. They are absolutely on and hot at the moment, the Eagles. No free kick umpire saying, fight it out yourselves, gentlemen. They still let it go. Shuey again for about his 4th effort in amongst that. Have a look at the players around the ball, and eventually Fremantle gets them a relief, but it's a 1-on-3. Got to get it all done here. Jack Anthony against 3 of them. He does. He holds it up. Waits for Pavlich to arrive. Really well done. Good paddle out. The Eagles should get out of trouble. Schofield trying a pirouette, turn out of trouble. Surely got one in the back. He did. Schofield kick.
Geez, they're letting it go, the umpires. They had to pay that one in the end. I don't mind the fact that they're letting it go. That's what they do in grand finals, and they always seem to be well umpired. So good idea today, umpires. I'm appreciating it.
McGinnity at half-back, so just a momentary opportunity for teams to gather themselves here. It has been a hectic pace. 24 minutes into the first quarter. Darling, off hands Rosa, kept his feet, did really well. Kick around the corner was a little arky. Gave the opportunity to McFarlane to get over the top. Wrapped up in the tackle here.
Good work, guys.
And a ball up on the neutral wing. Duffield getting off the bottom of the pack. Umpire interrupted in his run there. Pritis. Sandilands with the swipe out. Selwood was monstered by 3 Dockers players, and they're appealing for the free. Eventually it came out the back, and that's what players are doing a lot these days, is pushing it between their legs. Selwood got one high.
Well, the players are certainly going in 100 mile an hour. You can just see this game being tight in that sort of area for the first half, and you can see it really opening up in the second half, because the players have surely got to feel the pinch of how competitive they are at the moment.
Fife out the back door. Lex not to go across goal, but bring it down the line. Clancy Pearce and Mundy both there. Pearce did well through traffic. Good decision. Mundy now. Great awareness while being tackled to give the ball outside. Fremantle away. Crowley's got on the end of it. What's he got forward? It's an open forward 50 into the breeze. Won't get it there. Glass will arrive, or boundary. The ladder.
Look, in the end, it wasn't too bad a kick. I think it was a missed kick that got it to this spot.
Is it deliberate, boys? Is that deliberate?
No, I don't think so, Jacko.
At least they're out of the trap, the Eagles' trap, aren't they?
Yeah, they're out of the trap, and look, I think he was more looking for Kepler Bradley running to the goal square.
No one seemed to run towards the goals for him. Looked like they were saying just kick it over the top and try and work our man back. That Nui in there. In the end, the Eagles are able to extract the ball out of that position.
He took it, it didn't touch the ground.
Didn't touch the ground, said the umpire.
I think he caught it with his legs.
Yeah, Duffield put it on his boot, I reckon. Johnson. McFarlane in the middle. Had to get rid of Cox. He can go wide, and he does. Good opportunity here for Fremantle. Although Darling, did he infringe? The umpire said yes.
I think Lower tackled him in the end to create that front-on contact, but his eyes were never on the ball.
He faked the time of the mark as well, didn't he?
He just had to stop.
Put his hands up as if to indicate it was coming earlier than it was, and it drew Darling in. So, pretty smart, the players these days. And the Fremantle Dockers with a really slow play.
Yep.
Thornton goes in there. They fly. Sandilands no in the air. Off hands. Once again, McGinnity at the ground level. Pavlich. Ibbotson did well. There is Darling looking for Lacroix, but Mundy the fend off. Playing a good game, Mundy. Ran into trouble, Broughton. Handball out in the main direction. What can he do? He's covered pretty well. Absolutely throwing themselves at the loose ball, both sides at the moment.
You're right with Mundy, BT. He's had 10 disposals, 83% effective, and his contested possessions are right up. He started this game very, very well.
Yeah, more possessions than any other player on the ground by far at the moment. David Mundy. Once again, Sandilands through traffic. Fife. Pavlich scraps it out at ground level. Clancy Pearce in there as well with his ample frame.
Freo need to get a result here. They've certainly been able to hold things up a bit more, hold West Coast up. Now they need to get one, certainly before quarter time, just to even things up on the scoreboard.
Both of these sides coming off losses last weekend. Will be desperate. Look at that for Hill to Fife. Very intelligent play. Now Fremantle have created an opportunity out wide. Hill's there. So handball by Crichton wasn't fantastic, was it? Went through the hands of Anthony Crichton. The drawing handball to Hill. He'll want his left. Back inside now to Fife, who just set sail for home. McPhee's there. Bradley. McPhee pushed out. Did he get one from behind? No, he didn't, said the umpire. In that case, it was pretty silly.
Yeah, look here. He looks like he's going for it. Gets a little nudge, but Just needed to create a contest there. He tried to jump when he really wasn't in the position to do so.
Lynch's ball. Now, if he gets it quickly, he's got Selwood open down the ground. Scott Selwood, he hasn't seen him on the boundary line. Gives it around the back to Lacroix. Lacroix composed through the middle to Marston.
Kennedy
on the lead. Darling there as well. In the end, Clancy Pearce at halfback for Fremantle. So they're just starting to get a bit more of the ball now, Fremantle. Having said that, here's an absolute opportunity for the West Coast Eagles. Kick over the top is wild and offline in the end.
Both teams are running at 80% efficiency with their kicking early, but they've dropped down to 72 for the Eagles and 68 for Freo late in this first quarter.
Cox in front, Mundy once again putting his body in. De Boer just went and got it. Siren sounds. Classic quarter of football in the Derby. West Coast 4-1-25 leading Fremantle 2-1-13. An epic battle in the ruck between that man there and Cox, and the big boys for the Eagles getting it done at the moment. Back with more.